Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you loved this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. During the 2000s, Omega was big on history and heritage, and so for 10 years through that decade, it debuted special editions based on timepieces in the Omega Museum Collection. And so this is Museum Collection Watch number 9. It is the Milestone 1941. Museum Collection number 9 is a fascinating vintage-inspired manual wind 38mm white gold chronograph made in 1,941 pieces for the 2009 model year. So 38 in diameter, 11.8 millimeters in thickness, and if you compress these double hinged lugs as much as possible, the total distance across the wrist is 49.7 millimeters, and it's about 101 grams on my scale. Throwing it on the wrist, it has a lot of personality for a 38 because of the unique triple junction hinged lugs, but don't be put off by them. It's almost like a wire lug radiomere in that even if the lugs are beyond your wrist, it looks right. So you can see my wrist is 16 centimeters circumference, and I think you could wear this on a wrist a little smaller than mine, let's say 15 centimeters circumference. Because it's manual wind, it does not have a complication or a date beyond a chronograph, so we've got a relatively slim and stepped case band, so it should slide under a dress cuff. Taking a look at the strap, high grade, you can see large rectangular symmetrical scale alligator leather and a thick cut of it. This is an expensive cut of the beast, and you can see we have edges that are folded with a monotone stitch on the bottom calf skin, no crimping, no gouging, brand new Omega factory strap, and it is model specific as this junction will only accept the triple lug, so you need the triple lug strap. Fortunately, Omega has a couple of options, and the aftermarket will have no trouble if you wish to accessorize this a little bit differently. We have a vintage Omega logo on the white gold buckle, and in fact, you could see the vintage Omega logo a few places on this watch. Here it is on the dial, here it is on the crown, here it is on the case back. Collector's Series number 9, the Omega Museum Collection, the Milestone 1941. Taking a look at the case, it's fairly handsome in a sort of antiquarian, eccentric sense. You have to be into the oddity of this watch. It's definitely not conventional, and it's likely that even in its time, it had a powerful and polarizing personality. You could see that these lugs are actually double hinged. They pivot where the strap joins, but then they also pivot where the lug joins the case, which gives you more flexibility and articulation than you'd expect. We have these oblong chronograph pushers and sort of a shallow onion-like vintage crown with the vintage Omega logo. Taking a look, the case flank is satinated, but then we also have steps, almost like a pagoda, leading up to a generously boxed and cambered sapphire designed to look like a vintage plexi. The dial features both a tachymetric scale and a telemetric scale, so the telemeter to gauge distance and the tachymeter to gauge speed, and both involving the use of the chronograph seconds hand. Now, this watch has cathedral-style hands at center, and you may be surprised to see that there's a fair amount of lume on this vintage-style dial. Of course, back in its day, it would have been radium. Today, it's superluminova. No date, and a lot of folks will applaud that decision, as this watch is very true to its source material. You can see we have a combination of hacking seconds, and then with the chronograph system, a super crisp column wheel, and a vertical clutch engagement. That means no jump, stagger, or extraneous motion to the chronograph seconds hand when you start it up. If you like, just leave your chronograph running here. There's no additional hazard, wear or tear, because the vertical clutch does not impart any additional wear or tear. It has no meshing of gears. You can see the Omega logo and marquee in vintage style at the center of the dial. Inside the case, we have Omega caliber, you ready for this? 3203. And if that doesn't sound familiar, it's a manual wind coaxial chronometer adaptation of the Frederic Piguet 1285, which is a beefier and larger version of the High Horology 1185. It's a tougher movement than the 1185. In this application, convert it to manual wind with a 55-hour power reserve, a 4 Hz beat rate, stop seconds, vertical clutch column wheel, 33 joules, and it is a 30mm movement, so fairly large. It fills this case pretty well, all things considered. 5-position adjusted. It is a COSC certified Swiss chronometer with a durable free-sprung 5-position adjusted balance wheel. And the coaxial escapement, as envisioned by Dr. George Daniels of Britain and implemented by Omega starting in 1999, giving this watch a profoundly exotic escapement system that uses tangential friction rather than the sliding friction of a regular Swiss lever. So it even has a tie to independent horology. Cool. So both the past and the present of Omega watchmaking, and a rare piece. I rarely see them. Reach out to Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing details. One more interesting detail, you might think, well, 30 meters water resistant, right? Well, it's actually a little bit better than that. This is rated at 50. Still push-down crown, don't swim with it, but it's a bit tougher than your standard dress watch. And in white gold, I should also mention that this is gray gold, which is a type of white gold that's neither rhodium plated nor a different color underneath its outer surface. It's the same 18-karat white all the way through and never requires rhodium plating. It is, in terms of white gold, the good stuff.